Sometime this year, users of the iPhone are going to get a prompt asking them if they would like to subscribe to be tracked by Facebook and Instagram for advertising purposes. Now, this isn't some buried setting that will be hidden by default and you get opted in automatically. No, people are going to be given the choice to actually choose. And we know the exact choice people will choose. The result is that Facebook is not going to be able to track as much people as before. And before you think this only affects advertisers that targets iPhone users, no, it affects everybody. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through all the changes that has happened in Facebook and show you the step-by-step process of how to get your ad account ready for the iOS 14 updates. Now let's quickly run through all the changes that are going to happen and that are already happening on Facebook and how they are going to affect you. Number one is the 8 event rule. Now, as an advertiser, you have to select 8 events that you would like Facebook to track for you. Normally in the past, we had tons of events. You can actually create your events yourself depending on whatever it is you are trying to optimize for. But now you are restricted to just 8 events. In addition to that, you know how we have standard events and custom events. Again, the custom events are the ones that we create ourselves. Both of them are actually tied to the same 8 event rule. And not only that, you have to select those 8 events in relation to the domain you are trying to optimize them for, which brings us to the second point. Point number 2, domain verification. You have to verify your domain on Facebook. If you don't have a website, don't worry, we're going to get to that later in this video. So you have to verify your domain. You have to prove ownership of your domain. Again, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that, the step-by-step process in this video, so stay tuned. Now, the reason why you have to verify your domain is actually simple. Some people might wonder, why should you have to? It's because when you're setting up your events, it has to be tied to a domain. So just imagine you have access to someone else's domain. Let's say Google's domain, for example, right? So you set up the 8 events that you are interested in and you tie it to Google. That implies that when the owner of Google wants to create their own events, the events that they feel, the 8 events that they are specifically interested in, they will not be able to because you have already created it. Now, this causes a problem with agency owners because agency owners love to run run ads for their clients on their own business manager account, and that is going to cause a lot of trouble. We are going to tackle this later on in this video. Number 3 is the conversion API. Now, this is something that Facebook has created a long time ago, but is now way more important than it was in the past. So the way it works is this. You install the conversion API and it helps you to track your visitors and whatever they do on their website from the server side. Okay, so the normal way is from browser side, which is what we know. You install your pixel and then it tracks it. But see, there are a couple of problems with that. So you have issues like maybe the website doesn't load very well, JavaScript doesn't fire. For tons of reasons, the pixel might not fire. But if you have the conversion API set up, all right, on server side, that automatically implies that it will be able to get more people. And something very important, because I immediately asked my Facebook rep about this, was what happens if a single person is being tracked by the conversion API and your normal pixel? And the person said there's something called deduplication, which means that Facebook makes sure that the same person is not counted twice. So if a single person is tracked by both parties, it is just showing one person. I'm going to show you what that looks like. Number 4, you have to turn on 2-factor authentication. I have not verified this, but I have heard that your accounts are going to be paused if you do not set up 2-factor authentication, which, to be honest, is very important. I got hacked sometimes. I think it was last year. Somebody set up a $400 per day ad spend on my account, and even though for my automation rule, they would have bounced through my money. And it wasn't even through my account, okay? And this is another important thing. It was through another person I added to my business manager account. The person did not have 2-factor authentication set up. I obviously had it. I set up mine a long time ago. So they used the person's account to get access to my ad account. So you need to set up your 2-factor authentication, whether they will stop your account or not. Number 4, now we're getting to super interesting parts that you have to pay attention to. Attribution and reporting. Because of this update, we're going to have way less conversions recorded. Now, let me explain why. The normal attribution model we know is the 28-day click and 1-day view, which implies that if a person clicks on your ad, for example, and within 28 days the person buys your product, Facebook is going to attribute that sale to the ad, that the sale came from the ad. Unfortunately, Facebook has changed that again due to this whole update to 7 days. So for people that have this long buyer circle where it takes the person more than 7 days to make a decision to buy, by the time the person buys, Facebook is not going to track it to the ad to say, oh, this person bought because of this ad. All right, so that automatically means you are going to have less conversion. So that's less conversions being tracked. The sales are not going to reduce on your website. No, you're still going to get your sales, but Facebook will not be able to track. So you might not tell yourself, oh, the ads are not doing well. You're getting tons of sales, but you're saying your ads are not doing well because it is simply not being tracked. Okay, so you're going to have to be very, very careful about that. You have to now start comparing. How much was I making before I started running ads? How much am I making now that I'm running ads? So even though your conversions are no longer being tracked as well as before, you should still have a good idea of how many people are coming from your ads. Number 5, optimization. Again, still tied to the 8 event rule. You have fewer events to optimize for simply because you don't have a lot of data. Now, remember the whole people are going to have to opt in themselves to be tracked. Most people are not going to opt in. In fact, a lot of people, like it can be as high as 70% of people, are going to choose to not be tracked automatically. These are people that Facebook cannot target. These are people that you cannot retarget. These are people that Facebook can't say, oh, this person is interested in ABC, so we're going to show the person ABC ads. So that means that your optimization is not going to be as good as before. People have recommended that we're going to have to do quite a bit more of broad targeting, because if you try to slim fit as you normally do, the audience set would simply not be there because Facebook doesn't have these people. Facebook can no longer track these people as well as before. So super important. You're going to have less data, so you have to get super creative. Okay. Also, if you edit your 8 events, like anytime you edit your 8 events, it takes about 48 to 72 hours for it to actually start working. I am not sure why, but that's how it works. That's what happens before Facebook can start tracking and optimizing it. Number 6, targeting. I just talked about it. You have smaller and lesser complete remarketing audience. So if a person has opted out, for example, and the person buys your products, okay, automatically you cannot track the person. Now, let me give you guys a trick for the remarketing. When you want to create your custom audience for your remarketing, that's retargeting ads, don't just use the Facebook pixel, okay? Also upload your customer list so that you have like this 2-pronged approach. So on one hand, you're excluding people through the Facebook pixel that have maybe bought your product, right? On the other hand, you are also excluding your customer list, all right? So that you have more data to exclude people. At least that would help a little bit. Number 7, ad effectiveness is obviously going to reduce because Facebook is not tracking people as well as before, simply because they opted out. Now, let's quickly get into setting up our 8 events, domain verification, and lastly, the conversion API. So I logged into one of my accounts that I have not used in a while. I purposely did not verify it for the sole purpose of this video. As you can see, the pop-up is actually already showing up that I have 3 tasks to complete in the resource center due to the iOS 14 update. So let me click on it and see. Here you go. So first one, review 2 pixels that will no longer have conversion events. That means I have not set up these pixels. Okay, that means I've not set up my 8 events. I've not set up my domain verification. A lot of you are going to be seeing a lot of these types of error. Okay, very, very important. This is exactly how to solve those errors. Then they're also telling us about the attribution window, which I told you about, and then verification of the domain. So you have 2 options. You can either go through this process, you just click on it and follow through, or I will show you the manual way of doing it, and this is for people that have maybe cancelled this before and don't know how to locate it. So the first thing you want to do is click on business tools and select Events Manager. So from Events Manager, we have the DP Tracks pixel. I'm just going to remove this. You click on Aggregated Event Measurement, Configure Web Events. Now, there are two things that need to be done. That's number one, 8 events. Number two, domain verification. Those are the two things we're starting with. After that, we'll do conversion API. So back here, I prefer verifying my domain first. As you can see, I've already verified my personal domain. So I'm going to click on verify domain over here. This is going to take me automatically to my business manager setting. So as you can see, it's not verified, okay? But I already added it. So guys, when you are ready, you just click on add and then you enter the domain name. And once you do, it shows up like this. So I'm going to use this first option. Guys, if you don't know how to do this, just give it to your developer. It's really not hard, but I'm going to show you how to do it for WordPress websites. So I'm going to copy this. They say I should add the meta tag to the head section in the HTML of my domain home page. So I'll come to the back end of my websites, go to plugins, add new plugin. So there's a plugin that's going to help me to insert, just the way they said, insert into the head section. So let's see, insert header and footer. So you just follow along if you are using WordPress. If you are not using WordPress, maybe your website was built from scratch. There are lots of options there. You have the meta tag verification. You can use this one. You can use HTML file upload, and you can use DNS verification. But I like using this one because it's super fast. So I've installed it. Now I'm going to, I clicked on activate. Now that's done. I'm just going to locate it. All right, you can see it on that settings menu. Insert header and footer. All right, so I'm just going to drop this here. Click on save. Then come back here and click on verify. Now, okay, good. Sometimes this doesn't happen, okay? It would not pop up this way. So all you have to do, again, can you see? It is still saying not verified. All you have to do is hit the refresh button. That's all. And now you can see it is verified, all right? Then we'll come back here. I'm just going to reload the page again so it can show that it has verified. As you can see, it has been verified already. So all that remains is for me to set up the events. So I'm going to click down, click on manage events, edit. So add events. So choose the pixel, choose the net, then choose an event, okay? Now, in my case, because I have fired all these events before, that is why they are showing up, all right? So, of course, I want view content. I want, make sure you're selecting the right pixel. Okay, guys, this is very important. This is a mistake a lot of people make. I'm going to go to my website just to show you. Make sure you have the Pixel Helper Chrome extension installed. That's this one. So, 187. By the way, the reason why it's showing that red mark is because of my ad blocker. So make sure your ad blocker is turned off if your pixel is showing an error. Okay, so can you see? No longer showing an error. So 187 etc DP Tracks website pixel. Where were we? Right here, DP Tracks website pixel. Just making sure it's the right thing. Then I'll put lead. Again, this depends on what you want to customize, okay? The kind of events you're interested in. I want purchase. I definitely want purchase. Let's see if there's any other thing I'm interested in. Nothing else, I guess. I guess that's pretty much it. Now, guys, value optimization. We are actually, okay, so apparently I'm not allowed to turn it on for this account, but it is turned on for my second ad account. But what it basically means is that you should have generated a couple of sales. I think yeah, they said 100 optimized purchases, and when you're able to do that, you can switch on your value optimization. Switching it on actually takes out 4 out of your slots, but we are advised to do it. Now, once you're done with this is very important. Can you see that you have lowest priority and highest priority? So you have to reduce this. Your view content is your lowest priority. Leads comes under also. So basically, make sure your view content is at the bottom as your lowest priority. Let me remove this. And your highest priority is purchases. And this is why. Normally, if a person goes through your funnel, the person views your content, the person becomes a lead, and then the person purchases. Facebook counts it as 111. One person visited the page, one person was a lead, and then the same person, But right now, Facebook only tracks the last event that was fired. So that means if a person went through all this process and then became a buyer, you're going to have 1 purchase, but for the view content event and lead event, you're going to have 0, 0. So that's why you have to set up this priority. Now, once you're done with this, you just click on the submit button. Yes, you understand the changes, apply. And that's it, guys. That's all. Once you're done with that. Let me show you what so this is the value optimization. As you can see, I have set up value optimization, and it has taken out 4 out of my events. So instead of seeing 4 events, you're seeing 7. Now, once you're done with that, there's one more thing we discussed. If you remember, we have the conversion API. So we have to set up the conversion API. Again, very easy. We come back to the same events manager. Remember, you click here, you select events manager. Then you click on add events using conversion API. Again, if you're using WordPress, it's super easy. If you are not, just follow the prompts and install it manually. So you click on setup. I'm going to click on use a partner because I'm using WordPress. So that's WordPress. There are lots of options here, as you can see. I'm going to click on WordPress. If it was a WooCommerce website, click WooCommerce. So WordPress is going to tell me to install a plugin. So the name of the plugin is Facebook for WooCommerce. So let me go look for it. Back on my dashboard, add a new plugin, setup. So Facebook for WordPress. Okay, so you install and then you activate. Okay, so under settings we have, okay, so now it's present. So you click on Facebook. What happens next? Yeah, select Facebook, click on get started, follow the instructions. So that's get started. So a dialog popped up. Continue as myself. Continue. Notice it has actually selected the wrong thing. Okay, it actually selects, so you have to be careful. So I have to select the right ad accounts. I think it's this one. Then the right pixel again. Guys, always make sure you select the right thing. I'm just going to turn on all of this so you can track everything as well as it can. Continue. Manage your business, etc. Yes, yes, yes. Next. So now it's linking the website to Facebook. I think this should be the last step. Okay, so now I'm done. Next. Okay, verify pixel is working. As you saw, it was active, which is, well, it is. You can add events using event setup. So honestly, I don't use this option for creating my events actually, but you can use it. The reason why I don't use it is because if you try to set up a purchase event, you cannot put the value. So you would still have to either use a code or use a plugin like Pixel Caffeine to do exactly that. So again, I know mine is working because on the website, remember, we checked by clicking here and we could see that, all of this was firing correctly. Let me refresh again. I'm not sure why it's throwing up an error again. Okay, no error. Okay, great. So I know it's, hold on. We're passing this, confirm. Okay, that's pretty much it. So let me click on next and finish. That's all. Okay, that's all. Now here's the difference you're going to see between now you can see that you just have browser. Okay, so when you have that set up and you start receiving traffic, you start seeing browser and then server. Let me see if I can whip that up. Okay, so these are the events I'm specifically tracking. So you can see browser and server. All right. So the browser is receiving, the server is receiving. Okay. So guys, yes, that's pretty much it. That is how to set up the 3 important things you need to do. So FAQ, what happens if you do not have a website? So people that are using third-party platforms like Shopify, Katra, Seller, Paystack, and the others, what happens to them? Now, you cannot verify those domains simply because those domains do not belong to you. So if you want to run ads to them, you can either optimize for link clicks, all right? And while that is not optimal, it's the best you can do, or you run a traffic ad, or you run an engagement ad. Okay, those are the options that you have. Now, there was something I tried that worked. If you've already registered you've done the 3-step process, that's 8 event rule, domain verification, conversion, API. If you've done the 3 steps rule, you would actually be able to run ads to those platforms. I am not sure why, but I tried setting up an ad to Seller and it worked, but it did not work before I had verified my domain. Now that I verified my domain and done those processes, I was able to. So those are your options. Another option again, and this is one that I actually do already, is that when you have a third-party website where maybe you hosted your landing pages and everything and all that, you can set up your thank you page that they can redirect. So Seller, for example, after a person makes payment, you can choose to have the person redirected to another page. So the page the person gets redirected to can be a page on your website that has your Facebook pixel that can then fire for the purchase events. If you do that, it would work. But if you're trying to track events on someone else's domain name that your pixel is not installed on, it is not going to work. Even for platforms like Seller and Katra, where you can install your pixel. In fact, Katra, the option I saw for Katra was the use of custom domains. So for people that are a little techie, you know how if you have, let's say, damola.katra.com, you can turn it to, let's say, landingpage.damola.com to become your own domain name, even though it is from Katra. If you do that, you can verify that domain name damola.com and set up your events and run your ads. Seller is also working on it, so once it's live, I would do an announcement and show you how to set it up. Number 2, if you own an agency, what do you do? Now, this is very important, guys. Normally, agency owners, they create the business manager accounts, then they create ad accounts for the clients, and then they run the ads. But now, you can't do that anymore. And the reason is this: if you are the one creating if you are the owner of the business manager account and you're creating the ad account for the clients, you're going to have to verify the client's domain name and their pixel. There's their pixel events. So it will be your pixel events. And once you do that, once you verify the client's domain on your business manager account, the client has lost complete ownership to it. In fact, it has become like a third-party domain that the client cannot run ads to. So that means that if the client leaves you, the client can't particularly do anything except you start sharing access to the domain with whoever the client hires next. So what do? I would advise you to make sure if you're going to work with a new client, the client creates the business manager account, the client verifies the domain, the client verifies, sets up the 8 event pixel, and then you come in to work. I know it sounds a little somehow, but it's what I've always done all these years. So this particular thing doesn't even affect me at all. Now, that's honestly the best bet, but again, it's your choice. It's left to you and the client. If the client is fine with losing ownership of their domain, you can verify it on your own business manager. Now, a couple of important things. you might have set up everything and then you find out that you are still having errors. So this type of error where they tell you your domains need to be associated, because Facebook is going to start posting ads soon unless you do all those things. Or you see an error like this where you set up, you set up conversion and you select purchase, and then you see something like this where you're told to verify. More often than not, the main reason is that you either don't have your pixel installed on your website, that's that particular pixel, or you installed the wrong pixel. In fact, that was an error that I just saw today on someone's ad. So she sent me the screenshot and I was like, she doesn't know what's going on, that everything is set up well. And I knew everything was set up well. So I went to our website and checked the pixel installed, and so that it was completely different from the one that she was using. I have no idea how, but that's one of the reasons you are using the wrong pixel. So set up the right pixel, and that's all. Another reason the event you are looking for isn't active. We saw an example of that when I was trying to run my ads, where they said some pixels have not received events in 28 days or more. That's because I'm not using them. But in a case where the event has never been fired before, you are not going to be able to select it under your 8 events. So what do? Simply visit the website or the page where you want that event to fire. Visit it multiple times. Maybe use your phone, use your laptop, use different browsers. By the time you do that 3, 4, 5 times, Facebook should have started tracking that event. So other reasons, again, your event wasn't set up properly. Maybe the specific events that you're trying to track that is not showing up, you did not set it up well. Maybe it is firing for a different domain. Maybe it's not even connected to your business manager. Maybe somebody else installed it. So those are the major issues. Those are the major problems that are coming up. Now, my advice to anybody watching this is that you need to diversify, okay? So with things like this just goes to show why you need to focus on other platforms, other digital marketing channels. So we're talking search engine optimization, we're talking conversion rate optimization, which is not a channel, but you have to do more of that. We're talking Pinterest. Pinterest is a gold mine that a lot of people are missing out on. Your blogs, revive your blog, your email list. Guys, you need to set up an email list. Tons of things you have to do. So you need to do that. You need to diversify just to make sure that you are not caught with your pants down when the update finally kicks in. That's all for now. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button so you get notified when I release new videos. See ya.